What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we are here with a special guest, Farah Sayed. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for coming on the show. It's weird to do it in times like this. Um, how has this period been for you? Like the whole Corona thing, because probably you're at home right now.
Yeah, I'm working from home. I
Hmm.
actually have been working from home for a month and 2 days now.
Hmm.
It's been interesting. I mean, like we were just in Munich together, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe a month and a half ago, and
Yeah.
it just seems like that seems like another lifetime ago. But no, I mean, generally it's been good. I mean, I think. It comes in waves. Some
Hmm.
days are tricky and some days aren't. I think it's nice that my team and I are always on Slack and always in communication. We have daily calls with the team. So there's that check in every day, and you've got to like look presentable, see each other. Work has been busy for us, so it's been really distracting, which is good. It's kind of put my mind off COVID quite a lot.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice. But I mean, yeah, there's some good days, there's some bad days. I like going to the office
Mm.
generally. I like it because I like the interaction.
Yeah.
So yeah, some days it's tough, but for the most part, I've just been staying connected online and at this point feeling like relatively calm, actually,
Mm.
surprisingly calm.
Yeah.
So no freak out yet.
Okay. I actually think that most people feel like that, as in, um, at least I believe that this whole thing, of course, it's really bad, but I think the positive thing that might come from it is that a lot of people who are used to work, 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 like always be away from home, constantly working, constantly on the go, and right now they're being forced into, yeah, relaxing, as in chilling, nothing else to do, like just do the work you can do, and that's about it. And I think that will also bring some positive things for people, that they start to appreciate the quietness.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, a friend said to me, like, people keep saying the word self-isolation, self-isolation, and it
Mm.
seems very clinical. Like, just think of it more as a creative retreat at home
Yeah.
and a time to like think outside the box, get creative. So I really liked that and it really stuck with me.
Hmm.
So I think having that mindset can really help as well.
Yeah. And there's nothing else you can do about it, like this is just the thing we have to
Exactly.
live with right now. So
Yeah.
yeah. But let's go back a couple of steps, because otherwise people don't know who you are. Because you mentioned like working at the office. Which company do you work for right now?
Yeah, so I work at Beatport.
Hmm.
I've worked there for almost 2 years in the Berlin office.
Hmm.
And yeah, I've had different roles there. I started in label management, then I was the marketing manager, and now I'm partnerships manager.
Okay. What does that mean, partnerships manager?
Partnerships is basically someone that's wearing many different hats
Hmm.
because you're dealing with outside relationships, external relationships. So this encompasses brand partnerships that we work with.
Hmm.
When we get aligned with charity organizations, collectives focusing on diversity. So companies like She Said So, getting really involved in that. And also like new business and business development.
Hmm.
So really focusing on any kind of external property or business or festival or external organization that we could
Hmm.
potentially partner with. So I like that because I do get to wear a few different hats.
Hmm.
Definitely a role that you can be very creative in. And I also think it's and like an interesting role as well because I also have the freedom to kind of work with the editorial team and work on articles for Beat Portal and also get to work with the artist relations team and get to work with the label management team because a lot of those partnerships are going to encompass these other departments. So
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to work with, a lot of different
Yeah.
members of teams, different people in different teams.
I think something that maybe some producers or artists out there might not know is that Beatport is much more than just a platform where you can buy your music. Because sometimes when I recommend sounds.beatport.com, for example, to other artists, they tell me like, "Oh, I didn't even know that it existed," you know.
Exactly.
And I personally didn't know that you also had Beatportal, where there were more articles and stuff. So it's quite more than just a platform where you can buy music. And how did you end up with a company with Beatport? Like, what did you do before that? Were you already involved in the music industry, or?
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for this is my 12th year now,
Oh.
and before that, I lived in Los Angeles. So my
Mm-hmm.
career began in Los Angeles, and I worked at a talent agency, WME, which is, a very big talent agency in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
and worked there for just over 5 years and focused on brand partnerships and kind of like the link between music, artists, and branding. So commercial campaigns, endorsements, tour sponsorships, things like this. This was also at the time when electronic music was really like rising in the US around
Yeah.
2008, 2009. So it was really amazing to work in those teams and see that explode. So that's kind of where it all began. And then after that got into artist management, which was really interesting, and managed like an array of artists with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really great to, do artist management. I think it's really, it's a lot of responsibility, but I kind of really missed being on the business side of things, as in behind the scenes and working with, lots of different artists, lots of different labels. So I knew that I wanted to move from, LA and kind of get it creatively inspired again in my career. And LA really changed. It's a great place, but the scene really changed,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I didn't have that like kind of passion in me anymore. So I needed to
Yeah.
like get that back. So I moved to Berlin 2.5 years ago, and was still continuing to do artist management and work on branding projects on the side, but then um, was connected through a mutual friend with a former colleague who actually just left the company,
Mm-hmm.
and got introduced about 6 months into living in Berlin, and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah. How
uh,
did you, because you mentioned living in LA and living in Berlin as well. Do you still live in Berlin, or is it England right now?
yeah, no, I live in Berlin.
Okay.
I mean, I guess backtracking, I'm originally from England, so
Yeah.
I've I was born and raised in England, so I'm a British American dual citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So I've spent half my life in England, half my life in America, and now 2.5 years in Berlin.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been here 2.5 years.
And do you think that the location where you lived actually influenced the job you did? Because one of the questions I get a lot from people is from artists is that they feel like they have to move to places like LA or Berlin or to get more involved within the industry. Do you think that's valuable or complete bullshit?
I think
As an artist, so not necessarily working for companies like Beatport or
right.
such, but more like if you want to start releasing music.
As an artist, yeah, it's very different. From a business perspective, obviously moving somewhere where it's key, where there's a key scene is really crucial. As an
Mm-hmm.
artist, I'm not an artist. I've never been an artist, but I've worked with artists and managed artists
Mm-hmm.
from different locations.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it's it's really great to live in a scene or live in a place like Berlin, Amsterdam, London, Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, where it's like pumping in the veins of the city almost in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
these places, where it's really thriving. The scene is strong. There's a big community, because then that way you become part of a community, your network and ties become stronger. If
Mm-hmm.
you're somewhere in like Hawaii, it's a lot harder. You could definitely get your music, and I'm sure you can focus, produce, be productive, but
Yeah.
then the networking side of things maybe gets lost. So I guess there's two ways to it, right? So if you're producing, I think you can be anywhere in the world. And if you make amazing music, it will get out into the world. People will hear it.
Hmm.
It will get released, and that can change everything. But then also, there's another part to it that's important to, I think, live in a place that's thriving,
Yeah.
because you're kind of really plugged in,
Hmm.
and like those people tend to do really well. They end up building collectives, communities, labels, and I think that's always networking is such a big part of it.
Yeah, I think that that's you kind of nail it. As in, I also believe that releasing music like that, you can do that from all over the world. There's shitloads of labels out there. There's shitloads of self-distributing websites where you can get your music on platforms like Beatport or Spotify or whatever.
Hmm.
But I think when it comes down to networking, the the power of meeting with someone in person somehow is just way better than Skype or Zoom. Like it helps, it's functional, it does the job, but still having a drink with someone or having dinner or just having a regular conversation creates a deeper bond. And I
Absolutely.
think that that's the big pro of living in a city like Berlin, for instance. For example, like a techno DJ could have yeah, it could be a good spot for him.
You could go to the local market and run into, I mean, I've been at different restaurants for lunch
Hmm.
with my coworkers, and we run into so many people.
Yeah,
But it's those human connections that connects many things, and it can be an opportunity every time
yeah,
for
exactly.
artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that when you started off like 12 years ago, more branding focused, right? Like helping artists build their brand with partnering with partnerships and stuff.
It was more like at the talent agency, like we have the roster already of artists, and it's not just musicians, it's
Hmm.
actors and everything else, but we focused on the musicians. So it's about kind of not essentially building their brand as an artist, but building their brand partnerships. So any commercial opportunities they would do. So like,
Could you give an
you know,
example of
yeah, for
that?
sure. Like we worked on Avicii's Ralph Lauren deal. So that was
Hmm.
one of his like dream brands.
Hmm.
And um, he created a track, did some online content, shot a music video. So that was really, really cool to work on. Some other projects like Swedish House Mafia did an Absolute campaign.
Hmm.
That's not something we like worked on, but they worked on this deal and they were clients of ours. So we helped
Hmm.
to execute certain parts of this, and we're involved in certain parts of that. But that was a really big campaign. It was a tour sponsorship.
Was with the
Um,
Greyhound
a,
track, right?
yeah, with the
Yeah.
Greyhound, which is a drink.
Yeah.
So that was also happening at this time. And then yeah, so many deals with people that you could probably never imagine. Like we did Samsung deals with Ozzy Osbourne, Smirnoff deal with Pharrell, Taylor Swift, a lot of her
Oh wow.
commercial campaigns with
Hmm.
CoverGirl and all these brands. So it's like basically partnering major brands with music artists,
Yeah.
and for the first time electronic music artists. So when you're seeing like Nervo do a CoverGirl deal, this was like this was 8 years ago. Some of these were 8 years ago, and some brands were very hesitant to get into that space at
Hmm.
that time because they weren't sure. But yeah, the fact that we even did a few case studies was really cool.
Yeah. And what's the value of it? As in, why would an artist connect with such brands and vice versa? Like, why would big brands invest in artists?
Yeah, so I think for brands, they always want to, it depends on the brand, but most of them want to like resonate with their key target
Yeah,
demographics. So
it's more
just
like
say,
promotion.
yeah, so just say for instance, like it's an alcohol brand and they know that electronic music is booming right now. Like Martin Garrix did a deal, and I believe also Tiesto with Seven Up, right?
Hmm.
So why is a brand like Seven Up wanting to partner with these artists? It's because like they know that the key demographic of their audience that drinks their drink is young. What are
Yeah.
they into? They're into electronic music. So they try to figure out ways to entice their audience, be cool again, do something innovative and connect with their audience in a more meaningful way. And artists on the flip side, some don't want to do brand endorsements. Some feel that it's selling out or the brand doesn't really understand me, but it's changed so much, the landscape over the past 10 years. And I've seen it really happen where artists are more willing to do things now because the content behind, like the content strategy is a lot cooler and a lot smarter. There's way more you can do now. And instead of just like holding up a can of Coke or putting on a shoe, there's way more meaningful content, and I love doing that because I love working on that side of things, because connecting an artist and a brand can make a massive impact if you do it really, really well. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that also happened, like you mentioned, in the last couple of, let's say, 10 years, because the scene got more commercial. So it attracts a bigger crowd, so it becomes more interesting for bigger companies to spend their money on the marketing in that scene. So what could be the value of the artist? Is it just money, or?
I would say for a lot of the artists, you get a really big paycheck for a couple of days of production work, meaning like a couple of days of being on camera, on shoot, and or if it's a tour sponsorship, like we did Lady Gaga and also Britney Spears tour sponsorships with Virgin Mobile. So, for them, it's like they're going on tour and their whole tour is being supported by a brand now. So they're offsetting a lot of the cost. So that's amazing, But for a lot of artists, I would say, yeah, it's a great paycheck, right? So you can make a good amount of money for a 3 to 6 month term for 2 days of work, and that would take you, whereas otherwise, if you were just performing, that could be like 6, 7, 8, 9 gigs, right? So you get a lot of money in a short period of time, but also it's kind of cool if Nike or Red Bull or, these huge brands want to work with you. It means your fan base probably will grow. You'll get a whole new audience, and it's kind of flattering, to be asked by a brand. I would say those are probably the biggest reasons: money and visibility.
Yeah, I can imagine. And after that whole thing, you started focusing more on management, right? Like artist management. Was it full management?
Yeah, it was full artist management. We managed about 10 artists. They were mainly based in Los Angeles, and it was really risky to start something with, an acquaintance at the time and build something on our own. I think in hindsight, I would have probably gone into a company, but I think I learned a lot up until that point. So I felt ready to be able to manage artists, and it was full-time management. We helped them with, A&R stuff with their labels as well. We would even help booking gigs if they didn't have agents. So it was kind of like a full service agency. Yeah.
What was the main thing you learned from that period?
That many artists are always overthinking their music, and they need to just get out the music, because most of the time it's really good. But no, I learned that artists can be very tough on themselves when the music is really good. But I think that's good. I think that's why many of them are perfectionists, and that's why they're doing what they do. They want high quality.
How did you dealt with that? Because you are the one that kind of is the one that helps them build their career. So you need the music to actually build something, right? But how did you deal with that when an artist came to you, say like, it's not finished yet, but you needed that track to start building something?
Or sometimes it would be finished, but they would be overthinking it and want to change. I would just say, I had a business partner that was really good with the production side of things. Like, I'm not a producer, so he would be like, this is good, we can pitch this to the labels now, trust us, So it's about kind of having the trusting relationship with the client and saying, I can give you a little bit more time, or trust us, this is good enough. We know that the label is going to be comfortable with this. We've chatted with them. We've sent them a sample, So it's about like kind of creating that trust with the client. I think I learned, a lot about how artists' minds work. how sensitive they can be, but how talented they are. And also just the fundamentals of like running a business. You know, you're fully responsible for every single thing that these artists want to get involved in. Building the brand, like PR relationships, media relationships. Yeah, you kind of have to just, you know, I kind of feel like I learned a lot in a short period of time.
Yeah.
It was a busy time. Yeah.
And when do you think is the right time for an artist to get a manager on board? Because like everyone, all the artists out there want to get a manager, but 90 out of 100 don't really need one yet. So what's the right moment for an artist to say, now I want to get a manager?
I mean, yeah, it really depends, right? Because I think it's really up to you as a person. Like if you're releasing music and quite consistently and you have a booking agent and you're somewhat established, I think it's nice to have someone that can manage that flow, can help you get the right publicist or, you know, PR for your releases. If there's activity, if there's no activity, why would you have a manager?
Yeah,
So I would
maybe
say
it's easier to rephrase the question, like what would you need as a manager to make an artist bigger?
yeah, I would say, yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. I would say releases under your belt that have maybe definitely like music that you've created that you maybe have like a, you know, a secret stash to, so that there's something to work with. So the manager knows what you sound like, what you're capable of. And then some releases under your belt would be helpful to see what you've done, where you could go. If you've played gigs before and you know, have some gigs in the work, or at least have had a pipeline of gigs or have a booking agent, I would say that really helps a manager because they really have something to work with then. But I would say mainly music activity is really, really important because then a manager's got something to be able to speak to publicists about and media outlets.
Yeah. One of the things you mentioned, which I find funny, is that you mentioned having releases under your belt is important. But one of the things I see from artists as well, especially the beginning artists, is that they are ashamed of their previous releases because right now they're at a better level. They know how to mix their song better than the previous ones. So they kind of feel ashamed about their previous releases, which sometimes leads into them deleting the previous releases from all the platforms. And I always tell artists, like, don't do it, because it's kind of like your resume, right? Like, it tells something about where you came from and where you're going, and you kind of confirm it as in, yeah, you just want to see where the artist came from. You want to see how he's evolving.
Yeah, I mean that's me personally, and managers I know have said this, but I think, yeah, you should never be ashamed of like where you came from, what you listened to. We all have a side, but no, I think it's fine to be proud of what you've made because it probably got you to where you are, and like you said, evolved. It helps you evolve as an artist. So I don't think people should ever delete their releases or be ashamed. I think that was important to you at one point in time.
Yeah.
So you should keep it.
We all have that playlist with guilty pleasures.
For me, there is no real guilty pleasure. I'm actually quite proud, always, and always happy and always will be, to like listen to so many genres. And some people might not understand that. Some people totally know that about me, but I'm not like ever ashamed because I think if what's good is good, what's bad is bad. That's how I categorize, basically.
And do you listen to multiple genres of music, or always dance focused?
I love rock and roll. Like the Strokes are my favorite band. I listen to a lot of like indie. I mean, I grew up in I lived a lot of my life in California. I love good indie. I love good rock. I love classical, jazz. We listen to quite a lot in the office. So I love jazz, reggae.
At the
pretty
office,
cool.
you listen to jazz?
Yeah, we listen
fun.
to a lot of jazz. And yeah, some good soul sometimes, but for the most part, it's between like indie rock and electronic music. I mean, I've loved electronic music since I was 13 years old, so a
Mm.
really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I also have like several kinds of playlists, different kinds of genres. The only thing I really never really understood was rock music. I just somehow that never got to me.
Okay, I'll have to send you some Strokes albums and
Yeah,
then we'll see.
probably. Like there's some old school stuff which I like. I'm not sure if you can call it rock, but like Brian Adams and stuff, is that rock music? I don't know.
I don't know what Brian Adams. Yeah, I mean he's good. He's good, but that's not my vibe. Yeah.
No.
Mine is more
Sometimes
like early 2000s New York grunge. I mean, it was a defining moment in rock and indie music at that time.
mm,
So it was also when I moved to the US from England. So that music was really like helped me a lot through
mm,
moving countries at such a young age.
yeah.
So yeah, there's always that connection with music
Yeah, with
sometimes.
memories. I have the same thing. Like, it's actually, I think it's even proven with tests that listening to certain music puts you in a certain mindset. As in, I have this playlist called the Get Psyched Mix. Maybe you know it from How I Met Your Mother. Do you know that series?
I know that, but I don't know
Oh yeah, the guy in the series has a playlist like a mixtape called the Get Psyched Mixtape, involving all the tracks that makes him gets him psyched. And that really helps. Like if you listen to those songs, you automatically get into this mindset of having all the energy and all the positivity you get from it. So it's kind of connected to certain moments in your life which you have a good memory of.
Yeah, actually, we that was in one of our tips and guidance in the Beatport article that we just put out
Hmm.
about 10 ways to, help your mental health during
Yeah,
isolation. We talk about how we really wanted that to come across that like music is such a big part and can really help change your mindset, your mood, and having these virtual Zoom rooms, it might not be for everybody, and that's totally fine. And I totally understand that. But for some people, it really helps. And it's a way for them to not feel isolated. They feel closer with their friends. They feel more connected in this time. And I think if it
yeah,
helps you, then that's amazing.
yeah. Exactly. And you mentioned the article. Mental health is actually how we got to know each other because we were in the same panel in Munich about mental health. Um, I recall you mentioned that mental health is also something that has been on your mind, like also on the work floor. Um, it's just a big part in your life. How how do you think that mental health has been affecting the music industry in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, I think I thought that was a really great panel as well in Munich. I thought it was really good to get everyone's perspective and to meet all of you and to hear your different journeys. I definitely took
Mm-hmm.
walked away with that from with a lot of new information. But I think it's really amazing that people have talked more openly about the topic, and there's less of a stigma. It's unfortunate that people have had to pass away in order for this to happen, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that I've definitely seen it. There's some conversations you could have never had 10 years ago that you can have now. And I mean that whether you're an artist, a manager, an assistant, an agent, a coach, it doesn't matter. Like you can have a more open conversation. So I think in the past 2 years, you're seeing on the front cover of like DJ Mag, you know, not an artist picture, but a picture of a face, and the main topic is mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So it's things like this where you're actually seeing it take, priority over other topics. So I think it's shifted in a positive way. People are more open about it. People like Tristan at AFEM are really championing these things and connecting all the right dots for us in the community. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think there's more transparency, less stigma, more openness.
Yeah.
And as a platform like Beatport and other companies as well, I think it's our duty to make this more of a global topic to
Yeah.
discuss.
Is that also something that Beatport wants to be a part of? As in, like you sell music, you have the Beat portal, you sell sample packs, but is like the mental health part also or maybe the community part also something that Beatport really wants to become a part of?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like when you said in the beginning, not many people know that Beatport has all these other sides to it. And it's interesting
Mm.
because over the 16 years, it has had, there was a Beat Portal before, then it went away, now it's back again. So
Oh,
things
really?
have shifted. Yeah, so things have basically shifted. So, I'm in the department that's called Beatport Creative Services, BCS. So that
Mm-hmm.
whole division started about a year ago, and that's got streaming, festival partnerships, brand partnerships, editorial with Beat Portal, and things focusing on diversity, sustainability, mental health. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of us in the company that are passionate about these things because in this day and age, I think you want, if you can, and if you're at a company that can and supports this, you want to make an impact. For me, I know in the past year and a half, um, I know that I'm meant to do certain things in order to help other people in this industry. And that's like bringing more visibility to females,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have a lot of this when I was coming up. So it's about making opportunities for them. It's about putting awareness on mental health, trying to figure out how to become more sustainable as a company. So I would say that we get the support to do these things, and there's people that are passionate about it from the top down.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the company is like very, very much interested in these partnerships, very much interested in panels and discussions focusing on this. It's amazing that we have Beat Portal because we're able to talk about it now.
Yeah.
Because when you're just a store, of course, that's an amazing part of the business and you're providing music. But when you have a voice, you can say many things
Hmm.
as well. So for us to put out that mental health article was the first for us, and it was really important. And I think as a platform so big, you have the responsibility to educate people and to like let them know that you also really care. So yeah, for us, these are really high priorities like
Yeah.
diversity, mental health, sustainability, in all forms.
Now that you mention it, like in the last couple of years, especially in the techno, tech house kind of vibe, more and more female DJs came into the scene.
Mhm.
At least not now you see them. Maybe if they've been there before, but no one noticed them. But now more and more female DJs are on stage, which is a great thing, I think. But on the EDM, yeah, maybe EDM as well. By the way, like Nervo, yeah, more and more females are coming in. I think that's a really great thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think also just, diversity comes in all forms too. So it's also making sure that LGBTQ,
Yeah,
collectives and artists are also in the mix, and that it's really, truly diverse ethnicity wise as well.
yeah,
So when we launched Beat Portal, it was really important for us to have someone that really, encompassed a lot of great things about a female artist that has been working for a long time, doing amazing things, and for us to like showcase this because this was really
mm,
important to us and to set that precedence forward. So yeah, we were able to get more Ellie in, and she's, incredible. She's been doing stuff for like 10 years and she works hard and she is doing all the right things and makes amazing music. So yeah, it's important for us to also portray diversity in everything we do, even on the store with like featured charts,
yeah.
featured releases, content, editorial stuff. So yeah,
Mm.
everything. We try to keep it in.
And another thing I was wondering because I've been on Beatport since like I think since it started because when I started, do you recall dancetunes.com?
No, I don't.
I'm not even know if it still exists, but that was the first platform in the Netherlands who started doing
Oh,
like
cool.
online buying of records, at least the one I know of. And then Beatport came along as well, so I think I've already been on the platform like what's it like 15 years? Could that be? How long does it
Hmm.
exist? I don't
16
know.
years.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. But I've seen it also evolving because in the beginning it was a pretty crappy platform and it evolved and it evolved and it became bigger and then it kind of completely destroyed dancetunes.com and um, but then of course streaming came, and I'm not sure. Like something tells me that sales will always go on, because especially with Beatport, I can imagine that you have a lot of diehard music buyers. Like people who really like music will, I believe, will always buy music just to support the artist. But I'm not sure if you how much did Beatport got hurt by the whole streaming services.
We also just introduced Beatport
Yeah,
Link. I don't know if you're
yeah,
familiar with that. So that's
super
basically a
smart.
subscription service. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a subscription service that's allowing you access to the entire catalog. So for someone like me that's wanting to learn how to DJ just for my own knowledge and
mm,
experience, not to go out and perform, like, it's kind of cool that I can just access everything and play around with it and have all that, at my fingertips.
yeah,
And so I think it's amazing that we've been able to kind of put that out into the world. I don't know, in terms of like, has it hurt our business? I mean, no, I think Beatport still continues to thrive,
yeah,
and we just had an amazing stream, that was 34 artists in 34 cities and 34
yeah.
locations, and you were able to purchase some of the tracks within the stream, and
It's
people were
crazy.
like,
Yeah.
we want more of these. So people, I think, are still buying.
How much
Um,
did you? Because it was for how is it called? Like a good cause, right?
yeah, charity. Yeah, it was for
For a charity.
charity.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
you guys got like 180,000. How
Yeah, it
much?
was over 180,000 in the end. Yeah, I
Holy
think
shit.
185,000. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
another one this weekend. So also for different charities. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great thing. I also watched the stream. It looked amazing. Really fun
Nice.
to see
Okay,
all
good.
those. Yeah, it was really fun to see all those DJs playing. I guess from their home, from like their living room or whatever, or
Yeah,
studio.
I keep saying now everyone's become a bedroom DJ again or a
Yeah.
kitchen DJ, and it's kind of like bringing people down, or like, not that everyone needs to be humbled, but I'm
Mm.
sure everyone's back to the basics and they can feel it.
Yeah.
So there might be a different appreciation after all of this.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
really liked watching it. I think it was a great thing to do, especially
Cool.
during these times, like I was waking up and I was listening to the stream with my little kid, and she was also dancing, so it was fun.
Cool. Yeah, we saw yeah, like our CEO was with his daughter and he took a picture, and just like other coworkers, and we were in a separate Zoom, some of us, so we were chatting, and to be honest, like, yeah, it's really helped connect friends all over.
Yeah.
They've messaged me saying we're going to tune in, let's watch it together, and if it's helping people, then we're happy. That's a bonus, of course. It's to do things for charity to keep our audience
Yeah.
in touch, like keep them connected with each other. That's why it's
Hmm.
called Reconnect. But uh, yeah, the fact that people are happy and they want it again, that's really nice for us to hear.
Yeah. And also that you like are able to collect that amount of money for the charities is amazing. How much
Yeah,
people
thanks
give.
to the partners that donated, and also to, I mean, everyone that basically tuned in. I mean, that was absolutely incredible. I think we exceeded our expectations. So
Yeah.
it's really like the fans were incredible to do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we have another one this weekend, so you
Yeah.
have to tune in.
I will be there definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
So Farah, I want to thank you for the time to yeah, to talk with me and to explain all the things yeah, that you've experienced in the last couple of years, and all the knowledge that you've gained in this industry. Artists will definitely be happy to learn about it and to hear about it from you. So yeah, thanks again for taking the time, and good luck with the stream upcoming weekend.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's nice to speak with you, and thank you for all the work that you do as well. I think it's really amazing.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Have a great day.
Yeah, too. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.